what was stolen. So, you're finally here. You were expecting me?
Well, you Greymanes are a hard lot to kill, clawing your way back from death's door.
Let's find out, shall we?
Every gamer has that one single-player game that just rewired their brain. The one where you put the controller down after the credits and just sat there staring at the screen, processing what you just went through. The problem is, most lists throw every decent game into a pile and call it a day. This one is different. These 15 games are not just good. They are the reason single-player gaming matters.
You seem like a calm and reasonable person. Are you a calm and reasonable person?
We're starting with God of War, and I'm starting here because this game did something that should have been impossible. They took Kratos, a character built entirely on rage, and turned him into a father you actually feel for. The Leviathan axe is the most satisfying weapon ever coded into a video game. Throwing it across a frozen lake, watching it lodge into a Draugr's chest, then recalling it with a flick and feeling that heavy thud pulse through the controller. That never gets old. The entire game runs as one continuous camera shot. No cuts, no loading screens, just one unbroken journey from start to finish. And the quiet moments between Kratos and Atreus hit harder than any boss fight. Watching this god of destruction learn how to say, "I'm proud of you," without actually saying it. That's storytelling at its peak, essential from the first minute. Now, moving on, we have Resident Evil 4, and this game didn't just save a franchise, it rewrote the rules for every third-person shooter that came after it. That over-the-shoulder camera angle you see in basically every modern action game, this is where it started. The opening village ambush is still one of the most intense sequences ever designed. Dozens of infected villagers closing in from every direction, your ammo draining fast, chainsaw guy revving up behind you. Pure controlled panic. Leon Kennedy moves through rural Spain with this calm confidence that makes every encounter feel cinematic. The 2023 remake modernized the controls and visuals without losing an ounce of the original's tension. Whether you play the classic or the remake, both are masterclass experiences. Too important to skip.
Listen to me. When the time comes, you gotta run and don't look back. This is over.
Are built a simulation so detailed that it borders on obsessive. Rain makes
one that could never be put to song. Purge without grace or honor. The tyranny of Messmer's flame.
Coming in next, Elden Ring. From Software took their punishing combat formula and dropped it into a massive open world, and somehow it works better than anyone expected. Over 100 bosses scattered across a map that rewards curiosity at every turn. You push through a terrifying catacomb, survive by the skin of your teeth, and discover something extraordinary on the other side. That cycle of suffering and discovery is addictive in a way no other game replicates. The combat demands precision. Every enemy can end you if you lose focus. Every boss fight is a puzzle solved through reflexes, patience, and learning patterns. George R.R. Martin co-wrote the world's lore, and that depth bleeds through every crumbling ruin and cryptic NPC encounter. Elden Ring respects you enough to let you figure things out yourself. That trust between game and player is rare and deeply rewarding. So next up, The Witcher 3. This game didn't just set the bar for open-world RPGs, it buried every competitor beneath it. The side quests here are better than the main storylines of most full-priced games. You pick up a random monster contract in a forgotten village, and 3 hours later, you've uncovered a family tragedy with no clean moral answer. That's the standard, every single time. Geralt's hunt for Ciri across war-torn kingdoms pulls you forward with writing so sharp that characters feel genuinely alive. Choices ripple outward and punch you hours later when you've already forgotten what you picked. The Blood and Wine expansion alone is longer and richer than most standalone releases. Over 200 hours in this world, and I still felt like I missed corners. The Witcher 3 isn't just a great RPG, it's one of the greatest games ever created. No debate.
I've been on quite the adventure, little brother.
I reckon it's got something to do with that girl.
It's got everything to do with that little girl.
Next on the list, The Last of Us Part 1. Some games tell you a story. This one grabs you by the chest and doesn't release its grip until the credits finish rolling. Resources are always scarce. Every encounter forces you to craft, listen, and decide under constant pressure. The clicker sections had me legitimately holding my breath, inching through pitch-black corridors, praying nothing detected me. That tension is almost unbearable in the best possible way. But Joel and Ellie are what make this untouchable. Two characters written so naturally that you forget you're playing a game. Their bond builds across every chapter until the final act lands with devastating weight. Naughty Dog based the entire infection on real-world cordyceps fungus, a parasite that actually controls insect behavior. That grounding in reality makes the horror feel disturbingly plausible. Over 200 Game of the Year awards. Every single one. So another one we have here is Ghost of Tsushima. Instead of a mini-map cluttering your screen, the wind guides you. Swipe the touchpad and a gust bends the grass, scatters leaves, pulls petals through the air, all pointing toward your objective. That one design choice changes everything about how connected you feel to this world. The stance-based combat is precise and rhythmic. Switch between 4 sword styles depending on the enemy type, read their patterns, and strike at the perfect moment. Every duel against a rival warrior feels lifted straight from a Kurosawa samurai film. Jin Sakai's story about abandoning his honor to save his people carries genuine emotional weight through every single mission. This game was so culturally respectful that the actual people of Tsushima Island in Japan gave the studio an official award, a foreign team honored by the real community they represented. Ghost of Tsushima is one of the most complete single-player experiences ever made.
They're already here. The Elder Scrolls told of the return. Their defeat was merely a delay. Till the time after Oblivion opened. when the sons of Skyrim would spill their own blood.
Alright, let's talk about Skyrim. Released on more platforms than any game in history, including a smart fridge at one point, and it still deserves every single version. The game drops you into a massive frozen continent and simply says, go. No hand-holding, no pressure, just an entire world waiting for you to explore however you want. Want to be a warrior? Done? Stealth archer? You'll end up there anyway. Spellcasting mage who never touches a blade? Completely viable. Every playthrough feels different depending on how you build your character. Walking through a blizzard toward a distant mountain while that iconic theme swells in the background, that atmosphere is something no other game has captured since. Over 60,000 mods available from a community that has been rebuilding this game for over a decade. Skyrim isn't just a game, it's a permanent fixture in gaming culture that refuses to fade.
Your whole life you've been searching. And the elders, they've been holding you back.
The girl is a curse. She came from nowhere. She is no one.
When they told me to raise you, I didn't ask questions.
Why am I an outcast? Who was my mother?
Always you pushed for answers.
Now let's address Horizon Zero Dawn, a primitive tribal world filled with giant robotic dinosaurs controlled by a young woman armed with a bow. That concept sounds absurd until you're actually playing it and realize how brilliantly it all connects. Every machine is a walking puzzle box of weak points and elemental vulnerabilities. You scan, strategize, set traps, switch weapons, and exploit openings. Combat never turns into mindless button mashing because every encounter demands tactical thinking. Aloy is a genuinely compelling protagonist, curious, determined, searching for answers in a world that rejected her from birth. But the real hook is the mystery behind everything. Why do these machines exist? What destroyed the old civilization? The answers hit like a freight train, and none of them go where you expect. This was Guerrilla Games' first open-world game ever. First attempt, and they delivered something extraordinary. The kind of experience that reminds you why you fell in love with gaming.
If you could go back to the beginning, what would you try to change? Who would you try to save?
And up next, Cyberpunk 2077. The launch was a disaster. Bugs everywhere, refunds flying, pulled from the PlayStation Store entirely. The punchline of the entire industry. Then the 2.0 update dropped and everything changed. The game underneath that broken launch is genuinely special. Night City has a vertical density that no other open world has matched. Neon-soaked streets, underground markets, towering mega buildings, every layer feels alive and suffocating in the best way. The build variety is wild. Hack every enemy from a camera across the street as a netrunner. Slice through rooms with a monowire at blinding speed. Rip turrets off walls with gorilla arms and throw them. V and Johnny Silverhand's dynamic is one of gaming's most interesting relationships. A dead rock star terrorist living inside your skull, arguing with you about every decision. The Phantom Liberty expansion delivered a spy thriller with a finale that genuinely shook me. The greatest comeback story in gaming history.
Prove worthy. Paradise awaits.
Took a long time for him to get out of this game.
He's meant for this life.
Oh, crap!
Last I checked, we're all about.
Coming up next, Uncharted 4. This game plays less like a video game and more like the greatest action film you've ever controlled. The Madagascar chase sequence leaping between vehicles, your grappling hook catching a post, suddenly dangling over a cliff while an armored convoy roars beneath you. That entire set piece is pacing perfection that nobody has topped. But underneath the spectacle, Nathan Drake is struggling with something deeply human. He's done, settled, ready for a quiet life. Then his brother Sam appears and drags him back into the chaos. That tension between wanting peace and being unable to resist adventure drives every scene. The rope mechanic transforms combat arenas into vertical playgrounds where you swing behind enemies, pull them off ledges, and create cinematic escapes that feel improvised. This was Naughty Dog's farewell to the franchise, and they left on the highest note possible. A perfect final chapter for one of gaming's most beloved series.
Good evening, New York.
Time to bring the fear back.
Welcome to the party! Just in time for the fireworks!
Hope you like surprise, Spider!
Oh, for me? You shouldn't have!
This is too good to be true.
Scorpion, can you hold on a minute? I was in the middle of a phone call.
Next on the list, Spider-Man Remastered. Before this game launched, nobody believed a licensed superhero title could reach this level of quality. The track record was too painful. Then, Insomniac proved everyone wrong within the first 5 minutes. The web swinging is the single best traversal system in any open-world game. Launching off a skyscraper, catching momentum, diving between buildings at full speed, every swing governed by actual physics attached to real architecture. Once you master the movement, getting anywhere becomes the most fun part of the entire experience. Combat flows like a dance, juggling enemies midair, webbing thugs to walls, chaining gadgets into combos that make you feel exactly like Spider-Man should feel. Peter Parker's story grounds everything. Late on rent, missing appointments, trying to balance heroism with simply being human. That relatability elevates every punch and every story beat. Insomniac had never made a superhero game before this. First attempt. Absolute masterpiece.
Everyone was there. Scarecrow said he had a plan, that together we could take you out. And Gotham would be ours.
Over my dead body.
I believe that was the idea.
To the vandals who stayed behind to pick the still warm flesh from Gotham's bones. Have your fun. You are under my protection.
And coming in next, Batman Arkham Knight. This is the darkest Batman has ever felt in any interactive medium. Gotham gets evacuated and transforms into a rain-soaked, neon-drenched war zone crawling with militia and chaos. That oppressive atmosphere never lifts for a single second. The free-flow combat reached its absolute peak here. Years of refinement condensed into a system where counters fire instantly, gadgets weave into combos seamlessly, and you react on pure instinct rather than conscious thought. The Batmobile divides opinions, fair enough. Some tank missions drag, but ripping through Gotham streets at absurd speed before ejecting into a glide and landing on a gargoyle without a single loading screen. That seamlessness is the real achievement. Scarecrow steals this game entirely. Fear toxin sequences that blur reality so convincingly you stop trusting what's happening on screen. Watching Bruce Wayne mentally unravel under that pressure is the best writing in the entire trilogy. The definitive superhero game.
Welcome home, good hunter. What is it you desire?
Yharnam is the home of blood ministration.
And finally, Bloodborne. This game grabbed me from the first hour and never let go. From Software stripped away every safety net. No shields, no hiding, no playing it safe. You take damage and you push forward immediately to steal that health back through aggression. That rally mechanic alone rewires how your brain approaches combat in every game you play afterward. The setting is suffocating in the most brilliant way possible. A Gothic Victorian city consumed by a blood plague. Streets filled with maddened citizens. Creatures that shouldn't exist lurking in every shadow. And then the atmosphere shifts beneath your feet. What starts as werewolves and hunters gradually dissolves into cosmic Lovecraftian horror involving alien gods, nightmare realms, and knowledge that destroys anyone who seeks it. Nothing is explained directly. Every piece of lore hides in item descriptions, environmental details, and enemy designs. You assemble the story yourself, and the picture it paints is profoundly disturbing. A PS4 exclusive that still hasn't received the remaster it deserves. A masterpiece that every PlayStation owner needs to experience. But that's all for today. Drop a comment and let us know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet, now's a great time to fix that. We drop fresh videos regularly, and the best way to catch them first is a subscription. So hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and as always, we appreciate you watching. See you in the next one.